Space is often imagined as a vast, silent emptiness, a perfect black void stretching between the stars. But this picture is not quite complete. The cosmos is far from empty. It is filled with an invisible, energetic presence. This presence is a constant shower of radiation. It streams from our own sun. It travels across immense distances from exploding stars. It even comes from the ancient echoes of the Big Bang itself. This cosmic radiation is a fundamental part of the universe's environment. On Earth, we are mostly protected from it. Our planet's magnetic field and thick atmosphere act as a powerful shield, deflecting these energetic particles away. This unseen force is a sea of high-energy particles. They zip through space at nearly the speed of light. They include protons, alpha particles, and the nuclei of heavier elements. Imagine stepping outside without an umbrella in a constant, heavy downpour. In space, radiation is that relentless rain. But instead of water, it's a storm of high-energy particles. On the International Space Station, astronauts are still partially protected. The ISS orbits within Earth's magnetic field, which deflects many of the most energetic particles. Now, consider a mission to Mars. A trip to the Red Planet would take many months each way. During this long journey through interplanetary space, astronauts would have no magnetic field to hide behind. They would be fully exposed to the unceasing storm of both solar particles and galactic cosmic rays. The spacecraft itself offers some shielding, but it cannot block the most powerful particles. What happens when these high-energy particles hit a living thing? To understand this, we need to look deep inside the cell. Every living cell contains a remarkable molecule called DNA. DNA is the blueprint of life. It's a long, twisted ladder-like structure that holds all the instructions for building and operating an organism. Every detail, from the color of your eyes to how your cells get energy, is written in your DNA code. When a particle of space radiation zips through a living cell, it can wreak havoc. It's like a tiny, super-fast bullet. As it passes through, it can smash directly into the DNA molecule. This can break one or both of the strands of the DNA ladder. The cell's repair machinery rushes to fix the damage, but sometimes the damage is too severe to be repaired perfectly. The repair crew might make a mistake, putting the wrong piece back in or leaving a piece out. These mistakes in the DNA code are called mutations. While mutations can be dangerous, they are also something more. They are the raw material for evolution. Evolution is the process by which life changes over generations. It is one of the most fundamental ideas in all of biology. It explains how simple, single-celled organisms could, over billions of years, give rise to the incredible diversity of life we see on Earth today. The process works through a combination of variation and natural selection. Variation comes from mutations. These random changes in DNA create new traits and characteristics within a population of organisms. Natural selection is the next step. In any given environment, some traits will be more helpful for survival and reproduction than others. Organisms with these advantageous traits are more likely to live long enough to have offspring. Here is where space radiation becomes incredibly interesting. The intense radiation in space dramatically increases the rate of mutation. It's like turning up the speed on the engine of evolution. With more mutations happening more frequently, there is more genetic variation for natural selection to work with. This means that evolution could potentially happen much faster in space than it does on Earth. Organisms with very short life cycles, like bacteria and other microbes, could undergo noticeable evolutionary changes in a surprisingly short amount of time. A journey to Mars might be long enough to see several generations of microbial evolution unfold. This raises a fascinating and profound possibility. Space travel isn't just a physical journey from one place to another. It could also be an evolutionary journey. A major source of this radiation is the star at the center of our solar system, our Sun. The Sun is not a calm, steady ball of fire. It is a dynamic and sometimes violent star. It constantly sends out a stream of charged particles called the solar wind. But sometimes the Sun's activity ramps up dramatically. It can produce massive explosions known as solar flares and coronal mass ejections, or CMEs. These events are like giant solar tantrums. They unleash tremendous bursts of energy and vast clouds of particles into space. A powerful solar flare can release the energy of billions of atomic bombs in just a few minutes. If a CME is aimed towards Earth or towards a spacecraft traveling to Mars, it can be very dangerous. For astronauts caught outside the protection of a planetary magnetic field, such an event would pose a severe and immediate radiation risk. As dangerous as the Sun can be, it is not the most formidable source of radiation in space. That title belongs to something called Galactic Cosmic Rays, or GCRs. These particles do not come from our own Sun. They are visitors from the wider Milky Way galaxy and beyond. They are the remnants of some of the most violent events in the universe, such as supernovae. These GCRs are the heavyweights of the radiation world. Unlike the protons from solar flares, GCRs include the nuclei of heavy elements like iron. When an iron nucleus from a GCR strikes a spacecraft or an astronaut, it deposits a huge amount of energy along its path. This makes GCRs particularly damaging to biological tissue. They are a much greater long-term health risk than the radiation from the Sun. The biggest challenge with GCRs is that they are relentless and unstoppable. They come from all directions all the time. There is no storm shelter you can hide in to wait for them to pass. The International Space Station, or ISS, is more than just a home for astronauts. It's actually a bustling, self-contained ecosystem. And like any ecosystem, it's teeming with microbial life. Scientists have been collecting and analyzing microbial samples from the ISS since its earliest days, and what they've found is pretty fascinating. They've discovered strains of bacteria that are not quite like their terrestrial cousins. To understand how life might evolve to resist extreme radiation, scientists often look to a remarkable organism right here on Earth. Its name is Deinococcus radiodurans, and it's actually listed in the Guinness Book of World Records as the world's most radiation-resistant life form. One of the most compelling experiments in evolution took place in the aftermath of the 1986 Chernobyl nuclear power plant accident. Scientists studying the Chernobyl exclusion zone have found several species of black fungi that are not just surviving but are actively thriving in the most radioactive parts of the reactor. This brings us to the most provocative and speculative question of all. What about us? If we are to live in space for generations, establishing permanent colonies on the Moon or Mars, will we also be subject to these powerful evolutionary pressures? Will the descendants of the first Martian colonists, born and raised under a sky filled with cosmic rays and a thin atmosphere, begin to change? It is a fascinating and for some, unsettling thought. While human evolution is much slower than microbial evolution due to our long generation times, over centuries or millennia in a new environment, some degree of adaptation is not just possible, but inevitable. Any genetic variations that provide even a slight advantage against radiation damage would be strongly favored. Other Martian pressures would also shape our descendants. The gravity on Mars is only about 38% of Earth's. Over generations, this could lead to changes in our musculoskeletal system. This phenomenon of radiation-induced evolution is truly a double-edged sword for the future of human space exploration. On one side, it presents a formidable array of dangers and challenges. It threatens the long-term health of our astronauts, from increased cancer risks to potential cognitive decline. It creates a constantly shifting biological hazard inside our spacecraft, as microbes evolve in unpredictable ways. Yet the other edge of the sword gleams with incredible opportunity. The very same force that presents these dangers is also a powerful engine of creation. The accelerated evolution driven by space radiation could be a tool that we can learn to harness. It offers the potential to rapidly adapt life for the cosmos. We could use this process to breed new strains of bacteria that are hyper-efficient at recycling waste or producing biofuels. We could cultivate plants that are perfectly tailored to thrive in Martian soil. Understanding the power of radiation-induced evolution is not merely an academic exercise. It is of paramount importance for the future of our species. This realization has profound implications for how we plan and execute future missions. Mission architecture must evolve to include advanced biological monitoring, real-time genetic sequencing, and perhaps even gene editing technologies to help repair radiation damage. As we stand on the precipice of a new era of exploration, preparing to take the next giant leap back to the Moon and onward to Mars, we must navigate our evolutionary future with wisdom and foresight. We have a profound responsibility to manage this introduction carefully. The navigation of this future also involves embracing a new kind of science, one that is more integrated and adaptive. The divisions between disciplines like astrophysics, material science, genetics, and ecology will need to dissolve. The universe, in all its vastness and power, is extending an invitation. It is an invitation not to a tranquil paradise, but to a dynamic and challenging frontier. Space radiation is one of the clearest expressions of this challenge. It is a fundamental force of the cosmos that is both a danger and a catalyst. It can harm, but it also forces adaptation. It can break, but it also creates novelty. In this sense, the radiation that fills the void between worlds is not an obstacle to be overcome so much as it is a gatekeeper, testing the resilience, ingenuity, and adaptability of any life that dares to venture from its planetary cradle. To accept this invitation is to embrace change as a fundamental aspect of exploration. We will change our technology, we will change our understanding of the universe, and ultimately the universe will change us. The journey into space is simply the next chapter in this epic tale. It is life's next great diversification, driven by new and powerful selective pressures, chief among them the invisible fire of cosmic radiation. We are at the very beginning of a new creative explosion for life, and we are privileged to be the generation that takes the first tentative steps into this new evolutionary arena. We are the link between life's planetary past and its cosmic future. Therefore, let us look to the stars not with fear of the unknown dangers, but with a spirit of optimistic curiosity. The challenges are real and must be met with our best science and engineering, but the potential rewards are immeasurable. The invisible radiation streaming from the stars is not just a hazard, it is a signal. It is the pulse of the living cosmos, and it invites us to join in its endless creative dance of change and adaptation. The journey will be long, and it will transform us, but it is the greatest journey humanity has ever undertaken.